After crossing over, you discover that Chinese is actually an ancient forbidden spell in this world. As long as you speak it in Mandarin, the spell works successfully. An old man over 100 years simply said the word thunder. The clear sky suddenly turned dark with heavy clouds. Lightning flashed and thunder roared. Then he said the word rain. The once parched desert instantly poured down with heavy rain. Witnessing this, you were utterly stunned. Isn't this just Mandarin? So you couldn't help but say the word grass. The barren land immediately sprouted green grass, full of vibrant life. Seeing this, the elder asked in surprise how you did it. He then took you to a place called the Eternal Sect. At this moment, you stood in the middle of the crowd, waiting for the entrance examination. The exam was to recite the sacred texts of immortality, to strike the long sound bell. The more times you struck it, the higher your rank in the sect would be. 1 strike made you an ordinary disciple. 7 strikes earned you the title of Elder of the Eternal Sect. At this time, bell chimes rang out sporadically inside the sect, but never more than 3 times. Most failed to strike the bell at all, and trudged down the mountain dejectedly. Qishan the examiner watched this scene, and sighed deeply. It's been 50 years since any disciple struck more than 6 times. There hadn't even been a sound during the 2 assessments over the past 10 years. Finally, it was your turn to strike the bell. You stepped forward, bowed toward Qishan. Examiner Linbei came to oversee the final comprehensive exam. Qishan nodded at you, signaling that you could begin. But inside, he sighed once again. Looks like just a commoner, probably another unfortunate reject. You lifted your gaze toward the massive longevity bell. 3 mystical symbols instantly appeared on its surface. 2.5 years? You were stunned in disbelief, wondering if your eyes were playing tricks on you. Isn't that Chinese characters? Hesitantly, you read the words aloud. The longevity bell immediately roared in response. Then new symbols surfaced once more on the bell's face, about to explode. Without hesitation, you read them aloud again. The bell sounded another booming ring. Seeing this, Examiner Qishan suddenly looked up. Even the other gifted and well-resourced candidates hesitate for a moment when seeing these sacred characters on the bell. But you, a mere commoner, read them instantly. Before Qishan could recover, the longevity bell was struck twice more. Qishan was instantly thrilled. This is the first disciple with true insight this year. This child is extraordinary. The Prime Minister of the Cabinet has finally gained a new disciple. Even the 3rd elder opened his tightly shut eyes. After all, even cabinet disciples hesitate for a few seconds when reading the divine texts of past thoughts. But this child did so without reservation. After the excitement, Qishan was about to announce you as the Prime Minister's disciple. Yet another shocking scene unfolded. The longevity bell rang twice again unexpectedly. After 6 rings, the longevity bell emitted waves of golden light. Upon seeing this, the disciples in the square burst into an uproar. The 3rd elder suddenly stood up from his chair, staring at you in disbelief. My God, after 100 years, the sect has finally welcomed a child of 6 thoughts. Then a powerful divine presence from the valley suddenly scanned the testing square. It was the gaze of the Eternal Sect's sect leader. The 3rd elder withdrew his gaze from the nun, but his tone still held incredible disbelief as he asked, You recited the divine texts above the longevity bell without hesitation? Could it be that you already knew them? Since the Eternal Sect's sword sect, there have only been a few dozen candidates above 5 thoughts. Even the disciple with the most 8 rings took a full 10 minutes to read the divine texts of the first 6 rings. But you only spent 10 seconds. At this moment, the 3rd elder's shock was beyond words. This is truly terrifying, and you're only now recovering from the shock. Silently thinking to yourself, divine script? Isn't this just Chinese? The first 2 strikes were the most ordinary standard script. Later, auspicious was just written in traditional characters. And this counts as divine script? But since you can't reveal you've traveled through time, you can only respond in the local language. No, I didn't. Yet the 3rd elder didn't believe you at all. Then how could you not stop? A gifted prodigy. I'll say a few divine script lines. Try to repeat them back to me, but you just shook your head. Please wait a moment. I haven't finished the exam yet. The 3rd elder looked puzzled. What exam haven't you finished? Could this child really strike the 7th bell? Just as he was wondering, you quickly recited the divine script from the 7th, 8th, and 9th lines in one breath. After all, in your eyes, this so-called divine script was just Chinese written in a different font. The bell rang 3 times again in succession. Since the founding of the Eternal Sect's sword division, this was the first time a candidate struck 9 chimes. 9 strikes sound, the divine child completes the exam. Qishan went weak all over and collapsed to the ground. The 3 elders were completely stunned. Their mouths hung wide open. How could there be 9 strikes in the longevity bell of Qishan? The Grand Elder? Lin Feng heard the commotion as well. The sword wielders rushed to the testing grounds. Meanwhile, deep within the Eternal Mountain Valley, 3 bronze coffins suspended in midair suddenly burst open. 3 ghostly figures flew out from them, radiating an astonishing aura. The Grand Elder sensed that the 3 ancestors had awakened. Back when the Eternal Sect nearly fell, the ancestors never woke to intervene, but now, all because of a new candidate, they have awoken. The 5 supreme elders within the sect, unable to leave their posts simultaneously, sent the most prestigious White Elder to the testing grounds to see who exactly this 9-strike candidate really is. After all, anyone who can strike the longevity bell 9 times would be named the sect's divine child. Both the Elders Pavilion and the Supreme Elders would have to obey him. As they came to their senses, the 3 elders pointed at you with trembling voices, saying the Grand Elder is him. This boy struck the longevity bell 9 times in 1 minute. It's likely the old guards in the sect have all been alerted. The Grand Elder squinted eyes and looked at you, noticing no special traits on your body. Then he asked, What's your name? Which noble family are you from? Answer truthfully. My name is Linbei. I'm just an ordinary commoner. Hearing this, the Grand Elder couldn't help but feel embarrassed. He silently thought to himself, if you really struck that bell and called yourself a disciple in front of me, wouldn't the 3 ancient ancestors have already destroyed me? But he still had some doubts about you. Since you can prolong your life long term, you must have some understanding of divine texts. Next, I will recite some divine texts. Try repeating them once. Pearl Glow Lotus. The Grand Elder spoke a phrase in Chinese. Immediately, a pink flame lotus appeared in his hand. Seeing this, you instinctively thought, sure enough, the divine texts of this world are in Chinese. If that's the case, then here in this world, my path to cultivating immortality starts with invincibility. Thinking that, you repeated Pearl Glow Lotus. Instantly, the same lotus flower appeared in your hand too, exactly like the one in the Grand Elder's hand. Seeing this, the disciples and several elders present were shocked again. That move is the Grand Elder's signature technique. How could this kid possibly know it too? The Grand Elder was equally stunned inside. Could this young man really be a once-in-a-millennium genius? Yet, unwilling to give up, he said another divine text, Hurricane. Then a whirlwind suddenly appeared in his other hand. The wind sphere grew bigger and bigger. The entire square was swept by a fierce gale. Many unprepared disciples were blown to the ground. But this time, you didn't choose to repeat what was done before. Instead, you had your own idea. You raised your hand over your head and shouted, Super hurricane! Seeing this, a few newly initiated ordinary disciples couldn't help but feel excited. They were finally proven wrong. The spell he recited was completely different from the Elder's incantation. Turns out that kid was just lucky before. These ordinary disciples now secretly wished to see you fail. But the next moment, they saw a wind sphere forming in your hand, even bigger than the Grand Elder's. Immediately you hurled it into the sky. The ordinary disciples who mocked you were instantly blown away. Even the eternal bell swayed violently in the wind. The Grand Elder, stunned, hurriedly cast a protective spell to shield them. At the same time, he looked at you in disbelief and asked, "What did you just do? Why is your incantation so different from mine?" "The spell you cast is the same as mine, but its power has multiplied several times." You thought for a moment and replied, "I made some slight modifications. Actually, I can unleash something even stronger." "That's impossible." Seeing this, Elder Bai spoke bluntly to the Chief Elder. "Elder Lin, you should step back now. Don't embarrass yourself here." At this moment, it became clear to you as well. The divine script of this world is actually the Chinese from your original world. As long as you speak the right words, your words become law. This realization made you quietly excited. Elder Bai then said, "Lin Bei, your talent is exceptional. According to sect rules, you should be personally trained by the sect leader and become a divine child of the sect. But since the sect leader hasn't arrived yet, you must first pass the test of the Elder Council and the Supreme Elder to officially confirm that status. What cultivation level have you reached now?" Hearing this, you paused in surprise. "Cultivation level? What is that?" As these words left your mouth, the disciples present all burst out laughing. How could he not even know what cultivation levels are? Someone who doesn't understand cultivation can read divine scripts? Could he be from the evil demon hall? Elder Bai frowned. He clearly hadn't expected you not to know what cultivation levels meant. But you had indeed made Changsheng Zhonglian think hard 9 times. So he patiently took the time to explain cultivation levels to you. This requires you to understand a divine language. It shouldn't be difficult for you. Like gathering energy like this. As soon as the Elder Bai finished speaking, a shining figure identical to him appeared behind him in an instant. Then it grew larger and larger, finally turning purple in color. The glowing figure was over 10 meters tall. The disciples around were all stunned by the sight. "This is the celestial shadow of the reincarnation mirror. So impressive." You nodded and did the same gather energy chant. Soon a glowing figure appeared behind you as well, but it was only a small white shadow about 2 meters tall. Seeing this, the surrounding disciples burst out laughing. "I thought it would be amazing. Turns out your cultivation is just like a still water mirror. Even if you ring the long life bell 9 times, so what? My dog's already at the celestial realm." This is hilarious. Elder Bai saw your shadow and couldn't help but feel a little disappointed.
Though this kid is gifted,
Their cultivation is far too low. You noticed their reactions and realized your cultivation might really be pitifully weak. You couldn't help but feel a little inferior. You thought you were about to be invincible, but soon you came to your senses. Wait a minute. Since speaking Chinese in this world has the power to make words into reality, wouldn't that be possible? Just thinking about it. You suddenly chanted in Chinese. Level up your cultivation.